It's the Security Weekly News. It's episode 532, I think. I'm not going to swear to it. It is the week of 23 November. I'm Doug White, and it's Thanksgiving in the United States. It's a week of eating, drinking, shoving Uncle Phil down the stairs to the basement, having your Aunt Maggie stick a fork in your shoulder because you took a loaded gun away from her 8-year-old, more eating, Uncle Milton's homemade fireball, the whole vomiting, DUI, domestic disturbance week capped off by a shopping frenzy on Friday. Now, I heard George Washington once ate 6 whole chickens and drank a case of Mickey's Big Mouth before vomiting outside of St. Paul's and trying to fight the police. But it could be a rumor. I don't know. You know how George was with his wooden teeth and everything. Anyway, it is a special holiday break special for all the specialness that is extra special this week. So stick around. We're going to talk about AI with the amazing Dr. Shakour Abuzneid, who's an engineer and the head of the Cybersecurity Department at Roger Williams University. So stick around.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days. Cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. Our Zero Trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built-for-now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/threatlocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. All right, I'm Doug White, and it's the Security Weekly News Special Holiday Edition. Hit that like, subscribe, and leave a comment button. Or look, I will order up an instant family party for you from instantfamilyparty.com. Instantfamilyparty.com. You provide the dreary 3-floor walk-up studio. We provide all the best relatives. Drunken racist Uncle Al, cousin Stevie the Groper, also drunk Aunt Marge, comes complete with Salem 100 cigarettes and a half pint of vodka. We can provide them all down at instantfamilyparty.com. Don't spend another holiday alone reading your favorite book by the fire when you can meet your step-uncle Gucci, who appears to have puked on himself in the car, but keeps asking if you know where he can get some pot. Yeah, all those fun things. Well, joining me today is Dr. Shakour Abuzneid, the Director of Computer Science and Cybersecurity at Roger Williams University. Dr. Abuzneid leads the Computer Science program at Roger Williams University, and his academic and research career spans network security, cloud computing, wireless communications, and the Internet of Things. Dr. Abuzneid has a significant history of academic leadership, unlike me. Before RWU, he directed the cybersecurity program at St. Cloud State University, but during his tenure at the University of Bridgeport, he was the founding director of the Emerging Communications Technology Center, the Dean for International Initiatives, and the Director of Systems and Engineering Laboratories. He's a senior member of the IEEE and the IEEE Wireless Communications Professional, and his current research explores intrusion detection systems using machine learning. That's cool. He should be teaching my class. Wireless sensor networks, and secure IoT design. He holds a PhD in computer science and engineering and has authored over 50 scholarly publications. So impressive. Now, as you know, AI is now apparently in everything. From breakfast cereal to folding space, you got to have AI. They never say what it is. And we've all heard that you can't stop progress, which is probably true. But we can talk about it, though. So, hi, Shakour.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was a first-time visitor to the show, so that's great, and I'm glad you could be here.
I'm honored.
Um, I think one of the things that I wanted to ask you the most when I was sitting here last night thinking about these questions, and it was about you know, how AI is changing education. I mean, I see this a lot. I see it in my class and so forth. And if we can just say, "Hey, Majel, fly us to the Orion Nebula, make it snappy," do I really need an education anymore? So what do you think about that?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. And AI is very interesting. It's just it's another dot boom. It's like the transistor have changed the whole world. It will be followed by quantum computing. So it's one of series, and definitely will change a lot of things in education, outside the education industry. It's already doing it, and we remain to see how it will affect. But definitely, it's a growing discussion within education and college students. Also now start to think about the future of the majors they are doing and how it will change.
I mean, does that mean that maybe some of these things should be problematic? I mean, I know my daughter just became an attorney, and that's an area where I was looking at and going, I mean, how much of this can an LLM do? And if we start talking about quantum with it, aren't we? We're also talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence. Are there things that people should be worried about?
I think everybody should be worried and should readjust. Somebody sent me a list this morning about like 50 majors or 50 professions that they should be worried, whether it's correct, accurate, not accurate. They tell you it will be in danger, but how and when and how fast, we don't know. Believe it. One of the items there, software testing, for example. You mentioned
Mm.
the law. There was paralegal, jobs. Um, Definitely, it will shape the whole world. Definitely, it will, attribute to many layoffs. I think in this year we had about like maybe 100,000 more or less. We just heard about AWS and other companies that laid off many people, and they attribute that to AI. Um, I will be thoughtful about the future.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it worries me. It worries me a bit, and I definitely think that it will change the nature of all forms of education over probably the next 10 years. Because
Yeah.
I read an article this morning about it was at a major institution, and they were teaching these giant lectures, right? Like I used to teach this giant lecture with like 2,000 people in it, and I had all these
Mm,
grad students who took the roll, and they made sure people were there or
mm,
not because I didn't care. But
mm,
this article was about people that were teaching this giant lecture. I think it was at the University of Illinois, and
mhm,
he said that they had this app. So
mhm,
the students come in and they scan a QR code. It asks them some little multiple chance question. They fill that out, and that determined that they were present or not.
yep.
Instead of when I had my 30 grad students roaming the room, checking off seats. And I guess some of the students figured out a way to beat this with AI, and so they started studying it, and they found out the IP addresses of a lot of the people were not, in the on campus even. They were just scan somehow they were passing this around, and they sent out a request for the students to explain themselves.
Mhm,
And all the almost they said 75% or something of the explanations came back were exactly the same and had been written. So the students were not only using AI to
mhm,
beat the system, they used the AI to write the apology letter to the professor saying, "I'm so sorry that I was doing this. I didn't think there was anything wrong with basically lying about whether
mhm.
I was in class or not." So do you see that? I mean, do you see those kind of cheating things like in your classes? Have you seen changes from that?
Well, Doc, I mean, I never understood the word that says that double-edged sword,
Hmm.
except now when I hear AI. So you could be in the same room with different people, and you will have people who are very positive about AI, and there's people who are very negative about AI, and both are true. I mean, both telling the true story. Um, it's changing the education definitely. For example, you and I, we could teach Python in a class, right? And whether you ask the students in the exam to write a small code or answer multiple choice, just put it in ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT will score 100 out of 100. So you're giving them homework, and let's say that you're gonna give the normal program to write. It's gonna take 5 seconds to generate the code. It's not like before. So now let's make it complicated. Let's give them impossible program to write. Though those people who are very honest don't use ChatGPT, or they will not be able also to do it. So definitely the way you teach, the way you test students, the way you check their knowledge, it will change. Dog, listen. I mean, I tell my students the following, whether they are positive or negative about it. I tell them AI is like a train with 100 carts. It's your choice to ride the first cart or the last cart. All of us riding it. We're gonna ride it, whether you like it or not, because everything is now AI or will be AI driven. Just learn how to use it to your advantage, not to make you weaker professionally, but stronger professionally.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could see myself asking ChatGPT to write a question it couldn't answer. I mean, this is like, hey, can you write me a question that you couldn't answer very effectively so that my students will be forced to answer the question with their own knowledge? But
Yeah.
it has to be something they could actually answer. So yeah, I think all this is going to change from K-12 higher ed, the whole thing, even certs and things like that kind of training, because you're going to start dealing in a few years with kids who
Mm.
have been using this stuff since they were like in grammar school, so
Mm.
they started using this. And yeah, I don't even know what like English professors and people that teach like
Yeah.
literature classes, because I remember writing those papers about, write a compare and contrast paper about Bartleby the Scrivener, and life in Victorian England. And you're like, yeah, okay, I guess hey, ChatGPT, can you dash that off for me? I need 10 pages double spaced and put it in Word format, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you brought up something there that makes you mentioned things, AI being in everything. And I do want to talk a little bit about tech with you, because as you said, you know a lot about IDS and these kind of roles. Um, how do you see that changing the role of cybersecurity professionals? Because, SOC analyst is a big job title. We have a lot of people that are SOC analysts. So how do you see that being a double-edged sword in the industry?
Yep, it will have a good side, AI for defense, blue team, and will have a bad side. It will be a big help also for the red teams, right? So in terms of the, being start with a positive thing. I mean, like, yeah, it will be the superhuman threat detection. It will be used in many actions related, or jobs or chores related to cybersecurity. Think about intrusion detection system, and I know that you teach a great class there. Everybody in cybersecurity know that the system works in two techniques. The first one is signature based, where it looks for signature and filter out, and the other one is anomaly based. I mean, look for changes in the system, and then detect there is a malware. But how about zero-day attacks? So now most of the modern intrusion detection systems, and it will adopt artificial intelligence. How about using it in SOAR to automate incident response? I mean, it's not only detecting and then dealing with the threats, but also having an automated system that detect and then solve the issue. And think about ransomware that's spreading every day almost. Okay, so when you start detecting that there is an incident, okay, so it needs to be automatically dealt with AI if possible. Think about smart phishing. Doug, I was talking to somebody from IT in a hospital in Pennsylvania, that they have 60,000 employees, about I think 30 hospitals and the clinics. and they train their employees about phishing. All right, and they
Hmm.
do all the training, and the next day they test them, and it's still 40% of the people click on the emails, test emails, despite the training. So how about using the AI for using NLP, natural language processing, to detect and filter out all of these emails and the spams. So and this is like a few examples in the positive side of AI when it's related to cybersecurity operations. Now in the dark side, okay, AI for offense, so could be used for offense, like AI generated phishing. So I mean, you and I, when we receive a phishing email, we know it's phishing. There is a grammar errors. There is a lot of issues with it. But now, with AI, you generate perfect spear phishing emails that it's impossible. And there's now in the dark web, there's tools for that, like Worm, GPT, and other ones. Let me give one more example: is like a deep fake social engineering. All right, so this is uh, becoming like big issue. I mean, you could take 30 seconds from dog video and generate perfect deep fake. And there is now a case that, one of the finance employees received a video or voice, I forgot, from the CEO that mimics him and asking him to pay 50,000 to a
Hmm.
vendor. And he did because it was so perfect. And there's many stories like that. So, how about borrowed attacks? As you know, the people, the red team, when they try to do attack, they spend hours and hours probing the target. All right, so they might use different tactics to do that. But if you have AI agent that could do this 100 times faster 24/7, okay, that will speed up their process as well. So again, we go to the same point, dog, two edges.
Right. How, I mean, I used to do a lot of audits for incident response and looking at those processes. And one of the big weaknesses we found in that process was almost always humans.
Yeah.
Because, one of the things we did on those audits was I would walk in and I would, the CIO is standing there and you say, okay, you came in this morning and the entire IT unit is underwater. What's your
Mhm.
first move? And a lot of times they would say, well, I'll call Steve, and Steve will set our whatever acronym process in motion. And I'm like, call Steve right
Mhm.
now. And
Mhm.
they'd be like, oh, I don't have Steve's number on my phone. Hey, Dan, do you have Steve's number? Oh, Steve quit 2 months ago. And they had this whole sort of very, it was just sort of, you could just almost predict that this was how it would go. And do you think that as we put AI into those processes, that these LLMs are going to be able to better service that process? Because that's how I like to think about AI, is that it's servicing a process rather than it's replacing an employee. So
Mhm.
if that can monitor and manage that process, it may keep it more functional. I don't know.
Well, listen, I mean, again, I mean, how many times you tried LLM? First of all, AI is not only LLMs. It's not a
Right.
AI, right? I mean, we use the models for productive to, process for automating stuff and for multiple things. So LLM is one aspect of it. Okay, so just so the question is, how many times you try to have a prompt, you type the prompt, and it gave you a result and tells you everything is perfect, and you use the prompt again and it tells you everything is not perfect, it's bad, right? So I mean, there is still a room for a human, big room for a human to double check the accuracy. So
Mhm.
AI has big issues as well. It has the accuracy issues, false positives, false negatives. We have to be careful when we say that we are 100% automated, because I don't think there is such a thing.
No, I don't either. And I think, in this case, the human side of it can be facilitated because if you have some sort of AI that can track changes, in databases and things and go, oh, Steve retired, and can make that kind of that kind of cognition, it may be possible to maintain those reaction sheets that the
True.
CIO knows to call.
I
And
agree.
I like that as part of that process. It scares me too. I
Mm.
mean, it
Yeah.
worries me a lot because people don't even test their critical processes a lot of
Mm.
times. They have a checklist. And yeah, we do this. But
Yeah.
when they really try to live fire test it, it tends to go south pretty
Mhm.
fast.
Could be dangerous, Doc, as well. So, part of the research that I do and many people do is adversarial AI. So, I'll give you an example. Now, what is the most application that we aspire to in the future is self-driving cars, right? So,
Hmm.
self-driving cars, it drives and reads the signs and everything. Do you know that now, for example, if you go to a stop sign in the street and you put three tapes, okay, 1 inch square each one in the three places in the stop sign, the AI model will read it
Yeah.
completely differently, will not read the stop sign. All right. So imagine somebody, use a car while the stop sign not perfect. Something happened to it. Okay. Now it's not a stop sign anymore. Right. So
True.
think about, I was coming through JFK last month. Maybe you traveled as well. Now there's no people who stops you. You keep walking. All right. Because it's face recognition and all of that.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I mean, now you could also fake the face recognition softwares with makeup, with different things. If you know the system very well, okay, you know how to fake it. So, relying 100% on AI solution, it will be also, I think, life threatening as well.
Yeah, I know somebody who's training fuzzers right now and is
Yeah.
looking for resources if any of you out there want to provide them. But he's training fuzzers for facial rec, and finding ways to beat that with AI, using AI to beat AI
Yeah.
is definitely a thing. I did ride in some driverless cars in
Mm.
San Francisco. They have Waymos, and I kept taking them because it was quite interesting. To be a little defensive of the driverless cars, I actually found the driver to be far more responsible and safe than a lot of human
Yeah.
drivers I've ridden with, and so I do think that's a bit of a problem. So the other thing I really wanted to talk to you about was about what do people need to be learning? So literacy in AI is a buzzword. We hear that word here and there. But what do you think that people need to be trying to learn from this? I mean, obviously people are using it for all sorts of purposes, but do we need is it about prompts? Is it about safety? What do they need to be learning?
Different levels. So, Doug, I'm not sure when you were in high school if you ever were allowed to use calculator. I never used calculator
Yeah.
until I went to
No, they didn't allow it.
okay, until I go to college. Now my child is like 5 years, or not 5 years, five grader needs that calculator, which is like $120. Okay, so it's mandatory to have calculator. So at your age, my age, they resisted calculators. Now they use it in every age group. Same thing with AI. I mean, like you go to schools, there's faculty, there's some people resisting it, and my answer, my argument is you can't resist something that you don't know how to ban and stop. It will be used. So deal with it, live with it. Okay. Um, um, so what people need to know about AI is completely different levels. All right. People like at home, they're gonna use it in a different way. In education, they're gonna use it different way. Professional people in cybersecurity like me and you will be using it in different way, right? AI is entering medical fields as well. Okay, not the processing, even in surgeries and and in managing different operations and all of that. So you need to integrate, in my opinion, you need to integrate AI education or education about AI in every degree, including history, including English, including medical, including cybersecurity, engineering, name it. okay, in the right level. Now, what is the right level? This is debatable. People need to agree, okay, among themselves, and review what they agree on every year, every couple of years. That's people level, the government level. Okay, there should be more regulations about the AI usage, and because people need to be guided. Okay, and you never have perfect rules or government policies, or state policies, or whatever policies. They'll never be perfect. I never seen perfect policy, but it helps. So somebody need to intervene in every aspect to have policies and the guidelines, and things will evolve with time. It will keep improving, but you have to start somewhere.
Well, yeah, I think we're definitely in a very early evolutionary period of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, these are tools that are being introduced frantically
Mhm.
by everybody in the industry. So I think we definitely need to start establishing some rules
Mhm.
around this. Do you think there's a lot of concern about I mean, I have this concern about employees putting information into the AIs, and I've asked ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, are you going to share this with anybody else? Is this private? And of course, their answer is, of course it is. We would never, ever, ever share your information with anybody else.
Mhm.
And that worries me a little bit because I know that this information is extremely valuable,
Mhm.
even if it's just about what questions I ask.
Mhm.
And mine's pretty damned eclectic, if you
Mhm.
want the truth, because I asked ChatGPT, am I the weirdest person you have? Because I write these shows and I'm always asking strange questions. And
Mhm.
it said, yes, you are. And I was like, well, thanks. But
Mhm.
how did you know that if you can't see these other ones? So, I mean, do you think companies need to be really working on compliance and issues with that right now?
Yeah, there's three major topics that you and I could spend like hours talking about. Number one, we just touched, which is government and regulations. Okay, the other one is privacy versus security. Which one is more important? Where do you balance privacy of people and security of the system? All right. So that also, again, you and I are good friends, but we could discuss, and you could be toward the left, it could be toward the right, which is normal, right? You need somebody to put rules for that everybody adhere to. This is very important. Otherwise, it will not be a fair game. A third topic is ethics and bias. So what if our AI is biased? It is biased in most cases. Because what AI depends on the data that you feed to the model. So if you feed the model with biased data, that or historical data or old data, intentionally or unintentionally, mostly unintentional. Let's not dispute that. Let's not argue about that. But um, uh, it there are some biases. So how you remove that? Okay, and if there's like discrimination or unfair outcomes, something that we need to adjust. We need to adjust because at the end, we're going to use the AI to help the society, not to create unfavorable outcomes or segments.
Yeah, I think so too. I guess as we get toward the end here, what are some things that we really on multiple levels need to be watching out for with AI? Really, I mean, we hear a lot of doom and gloom, but we hear a lot of, oh, this will solve all your problems. So, what are some things we need to be worried about?
Well, I'll tell you an interesting discussion with my children, which they are going through college. So I actually had that discussion last week with them. I told them, well, uh, one of them doing this major and the other, my daughter, doing another major. I said, well, like, now you are doing something very interesting, but please check, read. Okay, if you need to have a job, check what within that field, and both doing medical fields, by the way. Okay, what within that field, okay, AI will not take your job. My daughter, for example, doing pharma doc. Or listen, we came to the point that even with the great majors in the history, you have to double check how AI will change your life. I'll give you a last example. You know, the medical imaging doctors. I mean, like those people go for 20 years to learn imaging. So when you go do X-ray, I mean, the technician will take the image, but this doctor will read it. Okay, write one paper to the other doctor, tell them the results. Okay, I mean, nowadays you have AI system that are trained with million images and could give you the result with accuracy close to 99%. So you need to double. I mean, if you are doing medical field right now and you're planning to be that doctor, maybe you need to rethink it twice. I mean, like, because you see, I mean, like, there is no limitation of AI. There is nothing will stop AI from taking some of the jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that you should, if you're planning a career or if you're in a career, you may want to start looking for opportunities that are not easily supplanted by something like this, because it is. I mean, proofreading and things like that. I mean, if you, and I'm sure all of you are, experimenting with these various
Mhm.
AIs, you're pretty much already seeing what it's good at and what it's not good at. I mean, it's good at producing a lot of code. It's not so good at making sure that code works effectively the way you intended it to. So it almost is like you kick up into that system analyst role, that I'm reviewing code to make sure it does what we think it does. And the QA role is really still there because it's got a very nice baseline of testing,
Mhm.
can crank out, but I got kids writing vibe code that I need to now review to see if that's going to actually do what we expected. All right. Thank you to Dr. Shakour Abuzneid, who joined us here today. That is the news. I hope you have a happy holiday this week. And if you get a holiday, if not, well, the salt mine, that's the salt mines for you suckers, but there's always leftovers, right? We'll all be eating and drinking and fighting and all that good stuff. And we'll have another exciting show for you talking with Aaron about your phone getting stolen on Friday. Thanks, Shakour.
Thank you so much. Thank you.